I'm Arthur Moats, and I'm here to tell you about my new book, The Moats Theory of Life. If you haven't picked up a copy yet, I strongly encourage you to. This book not only is a fun read, but it's a guide to helping you become a person of impact and inspiration. If you are ready to take the next step to improving not only your life, but those around you as well, go get a copy of The Moats Theory of Life, and it's available at moatstheory.com. What's up? It's the Arthur Moats Experience with Deke. I'm Arthur Moats, and that's my main man, Deke.
What's up, bro?
Man, you back in the flesh, man. You look fly as ever.
Thanks,
always
bro.
a pleasant sign. Always good to see you like this, man. I missed you, baby.
Thanks, man. I appreciate it.
You know, sometimes, man, we just, we got to go virtual. But it's good to be back in one accord, healthy, all here together. We got our limbs, 10 fingers, 10 toes, 2 ears, 2 eyes, 1 nose, right? I mean, I think I said that right. Won't want any double up or singles of any of those type of things. But as a whole, man, I'm glad to see you, baby. I missed you, man.
Yeah, no reason to be complaining. Only grateful. I'm nervous, though, dude. I'm excited. I got this, butterflies in my stomach, dude.
Oh, man.
Because we got this new setup.
We do.
It has me acting different. I'm sitting up straight.
Hey.
But I love it. I seriously do. We looked at the visuals before we started recording. I think it looks awesome.
Hey, man, I like it as well. Hopefully the people will be liking it as well, man. But, we had to make some renovations, some little upgrades to the room. And, I'm glad that we both are enjoying our setup right now, man.
This is great. This is amazing.
And if it creates better posture for you, then you know what? Yeah, we like that.
Yeah. My mom watches us sometimes, and
shout out to Mama Deke too, man.
It was literally at the end of one of our podcasts. It had to have been like a year ago or something. I was getting so uncomfortable with slouching back, and my ass started hurting, and I finally sat up, and it was for the last 5 minutes of the podcast. She was like, you look really good when you sit up like that.
I mean, you look like you're important. You look like you know what the heck is going on. Like when you walked in today, initially, sometimes you walk over and it's like, all right, are you about to rob me? Or are you about to fix the cable? What was going on here? Today you came through, I'm like, yo, I don't know what he does, but I want to do that. He just looked at you, you're layered up to it. They got the denim with the no lack. I mean, we double no lack today.
Yeah, we
shout out to the double no lack, man. So yeah, you already know that's our guy right there. But you just look good right now, man. I'm liking this new you, man.
Thanks,
2021 has been your year thus far, man. You look good. Brad Pitt.
No, I've been slacking on that. I'm not going to lie. I've been eating so bad. Haven't been to the gym. But I still got 2 months and a week.
That's plenty of time.
This is how I operate, though. It's weird.
Yeah.
I always procrastinate on things. But when it's time, I think it's time. It's time this week. Yeah. I really got to go 6 days a week.
Okay.
For sure, clean eating. It's just how it's weird. It's weird. When I know the deadline's a little bit further away, you wait it out a little bit. But now that deadline, in my opinion, there's some type of ticker in my head.
Okay.
It's getting closer, and this is the time frame I cannot let up. So,
well, I will say this, and I've come to realize it's bigger than just football. A lot of times things get done in that midnight hour, that final hour before the deadline. I mean, you even think about when it comes to sports, right? The last 2 minutes of a game, everybody's trying their absolute hardest. Whoo! You think about when it's time to close a business deal. Man, that final hour, everybody's negotiating. Oh, man, all right, you said 5%? All right, well, I give you 2.5. All right, what you said? 3? All right, cool with me in the middle. Everything gets done in that final hour. So you know what? This is good for you, man. I like it. You got that added incentive, that added pressure of this is my deadline. You've already publicly stated it.
Yeah.
You got people in your corner supporting.
Yeah, it's either I embarrass myself or I prove the haters wrong.
Absolutely. But I'm in your corner. I'm supporting you, man. I got my I Love Deke chest paint on right now. So don't worry about it.
The biggest haters, too, are my friends. So that'll feel good.
No. I ain't gonna lie to you. Got to have them every once in a while.
It's all love. Trust me. It's hilarious. It's hilarious, the stuff they were saying to me.
Because let's say, once you prove them wrong, you know how it's going to feel. You going to walk in hey, drinks on y'all today, baby.
They'll still rep on me. They'll say, you know what, your body's not completely there. You really didn't accomplish your goal. So you got to have that, though, in life. You do.
Hey, man, never let you feel like you're on top. Got to always grind. Keep you humble. You need, like you said, you got to have that, though, man.
100%.
You got to have that. Man, so obviously we're going to get into the Steelers stuff, man, but March Madness, man. Have you been paying attention to any of the games, man?
No, I haven't. I didn't even know when it was starting.
Bro, it's been nuts. Well, the beauty of March Madness is every weekend for the next 2 to 3 weeks, I think. But yeah, man, it's been nuts. There's been some crazy games going on, man.
I saw one game. It was the end of I think it was Purdue, North Texas. Okay. I think that went to overtime. Everything else I haven't seen, but I have been paying attention to the news at least. Man. Yeah, ton of upsets, huh?
Absolutely, ton of upsets. But more importantly with those upsets, man, we just be getting good ball. For me, we're not even going to deep dive into the games, but I forgot how much I enjoyed March Madness because remember a year ago,
we didn't have it.
The tournament got canceled because of COVID, so we kind of forgot that feeling of, dude, man, the upsets, the crazy finishes. I mean, just yesterday, I'm sitting here with my wife and the kids, and we're watching men's basketball games coming down to the wire. You watching women's basketball games coming down to the wire. Actually, one of our former guests, Kenny Brooks, right?
Oh yeah,
women's coach at Virginia Tech. They had a nail biter yesterday where they were able to win, advance in the tournament for them. So it was just like it's cool to see some of the people that we've interviewed. You think about Iowa, you think about all these different schools that we've had people on from, to see them still be able to have some success, and it's like, man, we got a little interest in that team right there. So I've been enjoying that part of it, man. Yes, indeed. But it's just, like I said, I just missed this time of year where you're getting football free agency, right? We know it's a big deal. You're getting hockey. You're getting basketball. You're getting March Madness, NBA. Everything is going on. I mean, even for baseball, spring training is starting up. Like, you have all of these things going on right now. I'm just happy, man.
I am too. Yeah. Life is good, even though I have missed on March Madness, unfortunately.
But hey, like I said, you got games. I mean, they're starting right now as we're recording, and they'll be going on today, tomorrow, and then after that, I think it's Friday, Saturday, Sunday, Monday again next week. So just get the enjoy.
Right, it's almost like last year with the NBA playoffs where they had games in the middle of the day. Yeah, it's really good just to have on in the backdrop when you're working, you're doing whatever.
Yes.
So yeah,
absolutely. Are you giving me a hint that I should have turned this? Oh, they didn't know we had a TV in here now.
No, this is perfect.
Oh, they can't see
I love this. I love this, man. NFL Network, Good Morning Football's on. They're talking about Matt Stafford. Actually, I mean, we look at these stats. 5th in completions, 5th in passing yards.
See?
7th in pass yards per game, 7th in pass touchdowns since 2011. Has he been underrated? I don't know.
Go.
No, I don't know. Actually... Speaking of goats, I have an announcement.
Here we go.
I have an announcement.
He's back. I love it. Let's go.
I'm humbled.
No way.
I'm humbled.
I don't know this humble Deke. I don't know this guy.
I'm humbled.
What's going on?
This was a big deal, dude.
Uh-oh.
Number 69 of the Pittsburgh Steelers.
Oh, hey now.
Has followed me on Twitter.
Say what? The man, the myth, the legend, Mr. Kevin Dotson? Mr. Get Freaky, and I'm going to blow you off the offensive line of scrimmage because I do this? That guy?
It came out of nowhere, dude. It came out of nowhere, especially because I followed him right after our interview.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the perfect time. You know, he'll see some of the stuff he's tagged in, some of the things with the interview. Oh, he'll follow me back. He'll know that I just talked to him. Never got to follow back. So that hurt a little bit. That hurt.
No, I could definitely see that. I could understand that.
And then out of the blue, like 2 days ago, he followed me on Twitter. I'm like, wow.
See, I kind of like that better because it's like...
I do too.
You know, if he did it initially, it's like, well, I mean, he's supposed to.
He felt obliged.
He felt, But to let some time go by, he really had to consider if you were worthy of following or not.
I don't know why he did. I don't know what he saw. I mean, some of my tweets have gone viral this weekend.
They have. They have. You've been on one lately. I love it.
All it took was the Juju signing.
That was it. We got a whole deep post. I was like, yep, there we go. He's back.
So whatever it was a good feeling, man. It was a good feeling.
Without a doubt.
We got the GOAT following Deke.
I like it, man. Anytime we get to see the GOAT out here showing some love to the Pittsburgh community, man. And they're supposed to, right? Because as athletes, we were taught that, hey, man, you want to get in good with some of the media members. You want to make sure that they know.
I do not consider myself
You want to make sure that they know that you're a good guy. So if anything were to happen, there could be a little bit of a janky situation. They would give you the benefit of the doubt. That's what I was told early in my career, and that was the model that I followed. So anybody that knows me, I was befriending a lot of media members throughout my career to make sure that, hey, if anything happened, whether it was on the field or off the field, that I'll at least get the benefit of the doubt of being able to communicate with them before they just put whatever out there, because we know how it goes in the media. Sure. Once the story gets out there, right, wrong, or indifferent, that's people are running with. So I think Dotson is just taking that and he's saying, yo, Eric DeClaven is a very respected, esteemed, colleague of Arthur, and we know what Arthur brings to the table. So I should have the same level of respect for Eric DeClaven as I do Arthur Moats.
You don't need to do that. No way.
Yes, indeed. Yes,
no,
indeed. Come
no
on,
way. Well, he didn't.
Bro.
He didn't even need to do all this because I already had his back, dude. He could have done anything. I would have had his back. I would have said, you know what? I think that was on the center. I think that was on the left tackle. It wasn't on Dotson, man.
Don't worry about it.
They called in the wrong play, man. That's what it was.
You know what? I'm pretty sure it was a miscommunication by the tackle. It's always on the tackle or the center, never on the guard. So you're good, especially the left guard. So don't worry about it, man. But shout out to Dotson, though, man. Like, yeah, I'm glad he's definitely following you, man. And it's long overdue because you are worth the follow on Twitter now, man. You bring that.
I'm getting
action.
there. My Twitter game wasn't too strong initially, but now I'm just starting to see the benefit of it. So I'm trying to get there.
Man. No, full transparency, you inspire me to social media more.
Okay.
Anytime, like, I'll be going on my little couple days of nothing, then Deke again. I gotta post something. I gotta go. I gotta drop. Deke is telling me that I'm not posting enough right now. So trust me, I appreciate your efforts. All right.
Okay, man. Yeah. I appreciate
your inspiration to me.
Yeah, Twitter is it's been my least favorite of all time for sure. It seems like a hellhole to me, but now I'm coming around to it because it's like a cocktail party. It's just like a bunch of interactions, people going at each other. Mm-hmm. If you know what it is, then then you can start interacting in it. Yeah. So for me, like, I always enjoy how, like you said, with Twitter, it's cocktail party. It's very light. We're gonna have a ton of conversations, but once that is done, it's not. It doesn't have that evergreen value of I can come back and pick this up 3 days later. It's not like that. Whereas YouTube, you can post a video. I mean, that thing's gonna last. Same with IG. You post a picture, you can go down the comment section. It's gonna live a little bit longer, and it's. Obviously, with IG, is less of the communication. It's more so just I'm observing the work that you decided to post. Whereas on Twitter, Twitter is definitely conversation. We're gonna go back and forth. It's like it's like the interstate version of Facebook. Facebook is like we're in the community, we're riding around, in the 25 here, stop signs and stuff like that. Because you got your older people up there, you got some young people up there, but it's an older crowd, so it's a little more tamed. Twitter is like, man, we are, it's the Indy 500. It's the Daytona right here. Like, we just hitting it and getting it, man. We don't have time to talk about what happened 2 laps ago. We on this lap, and it's a crash about to happen. And that's it. And then it could completely change in like 2 hours. You forgot about it.
Like, that's how Twitter is, man. So, yeah, but like I said, you inspire me, man. So I'm gonna keep my social media going because of how you be getting out here, man. But shout out to Dotson nonetheless.
I appreciate it. Real quick though, before we keep going down this rabbit hole, with YouTube, speaking of like old videos and stuff, how like they're a little bit more evergreen. You know what was popping up on one of my suggested vids? Who was most excited to be in the Big Ben vid last year?
Oh. Was it Juju, Claypool? Who else is in there?
Juju, James Conner, and Switzer.
Oh, yeah, it was Switzer. Oh,
what's hilarious when you say evergreen, I saw that. I'm like, this is 10 months old.
Yeah.
I don't care. I want to see what we were talking about. Yeah. And I said Switzer. And there were good reasons, too. Man. It was like, Connor, he's already on the team. We didn't draft the running back. Juju's already got his brand. Switzer was the only one in question.
He was the up and coming, yeah.
So I thought he was for sure going to be on the team because of being in the video.
Absolutely. And for anyone that doesn't know with Ryan Switzer, man, definitely keep him and his family in their prayers right now, man. Obviously, his son is going through a very serious situation, man. They're trying to figure out what's going on with him, but definitely keep him in our thoughts and prayers, man, without a doubt, bro.
100% agreed.
Yeah, man. Well, I like it. So, you ready to get to this Steelers content, baby? You ready? Are you ready?
I definitely am.
It's been a little while, man, but we've been cooking. We've been doing the virtual thing, but since our last virtual episode, obviously we know what the big signing was, the Juju Smith-Schuster coming back on the 1-year, $8 million deal. But we also had 2 other signings that happened right after that. Special teams ace, that's what they're calling them. I like that, special teams ace. I feel like that's like the term we give to the special teamers.
Sure.
But we signed Miles, I think it's Killebrew. I think that's how you say that.
That's a badass name.
It is, bro. I like it. It kind of reminds me of like Killmonger from, Black Panther and stuff. Anytime you got kill, destroy, violence, anything like that.
Beer. Yeah. Miles is a good first name. Like it's a dope name.
It's a strong name. Name. I like that name. Yes, indeed. Well, we signed him to a 1-year deal. Obviously, he used to play with the Detroit Lions, man. And then we signed offensive lineman Joe Haig. I think that's how you say his last name. He was from the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Now, he is very familiar. You might not know his name, but in the Super Bowl, Tom Brady threw a pass to an offensive lineman. Pass is incomplete, but this was the gentleman that the pass was thrown to right here. Yes, indeed. So,
do you want to say anything about the pass?
Oh, yeah.
Well, I thought, and this is based off what you've said, he shouldn't have caught that because of the defensive back. You were like, that's such an easy play for the defensive back. It looked like he had it. It hit up against his helmet a little bit, but he was going to catch it if the defensive back wasn't there. It's not like he dropped it.
No. Just play.
So people are making a way bigger deal out of the so-called drop that he had.
Wasn't it?
I didn't consider that a drop.
Well, and I didn't say it was drop. Right? I said it was.
No, but a lot of people make fun of him for that.
I was like, no, it's not a drop.
No, I'm serious. Like a lot of the news outlets and articles are like, you may know him because he dropped this pass in the Super Bowl. I'm like,
definitely didn't drop.
I didn't think it was a drop.
No, that was a good play by the DB. I mean, as a DB or a defender, you're taught that if it's a taller defender, which this guy is, I mean, you don't have a lot of 6'5", 6'6" running around in the secondary. All you do is you're not going to be able to jump up there to 6'6" to catch that ball, right? Because, once he's 6'6", he extends his arm, he jumps. You do the math. He's a lot taller than that. But what you do, you wait till they come down. And when they're coming down, they have to bring the ball down. Most receivers are going to bring the ball down. Now, the elite ones, your Gronks, your Julio Jones, your DeAndre Hopkins, they're able to one hand or keep the ball up out of reach. But that is very difficult to do. So as a defender, you're taught that when the ball is coming down, even if it's in two hands, it doesn't matter. When he's bringing that ball down, you take all of your might and you jump up, you punch for that ball. You're trying to do whatever it can to just rip that ball. You want to just play the laws of physics. While his motion is coming down, you're trying to create a new initial force that is even more powerful, going the opposite direction to draw that ball loose. And that's what happened on the play. But shout out to Joe, because I was excited because, we had another offensive lineman on our team who came on the show during the interview and was very much outspoken about wanting to receive a pass. And he hasn't received one just yet. Okay.
Do we have a battle coming up?
I think we do. I don't know if it's beef, but I'm starting. All right. Zach Banner has been on record. He came on the show. It was on record about saying what? He wants a pass. He said if Duck doesn't throw him the ball, he said Duck rhymes with something else. And we were just like, all right, it's family friendly. Don't go too far, but I got you. You know what I mean? So now that Joe actually did receive a pass from Tom Brady in the Super Bowl, between those two guys, between Joe and Zach, but who gets the reception first for the Steelers?
I think we need to have Banner back on and ask him, would you have caught that?
Seriously. Like, Zach, are you going to high point it and keep it up high, big man? Or are you going to bring it down like Joe did and get it broken up? Like, which one are you going to do? I'm curious.
Actually, I don't think you want to win the battle for the pass, because if you win the battle to potentially get a pass thrown to you, that means you're the sixth offensive lineman.
The catch-22.
It is. What do you want more?
On, right?
Do you want to lose the spot for left tackle or right tackle, or do you want to catch a pass?
well, if Joe caught that pass in the Super Bowl, he is talked about more than any offensive lineman that started in that Super Bowl.
We would be going crazy right now. We would be going crazy.
So, which one do you want? You know what I mean?
The other one gets you more money, though.
Which one gets you more endorsements, though?
Well, that's interesting. I don't know if it's going to be enough to make up for just the starter money for left tackle or right tackle.
Very true.
But you could start at left tackle or right tackle and play bad, and then your reputation's done.
Yes.
If you just find that niche of 6 offensive linemen catching the pass here or there, you can find yourself maybe a long career. Like, good staple guy for the locker room. Brings the energy.
Everybody loves the number 2 quarterback.
Right.
Everybody loves the extra offensive lineman. Think about Zach Banner. Zach Banner, they were cheering him as the extra. 72 is eligible. We cheered for that. Think about that. We were cheering for that. We didn't cheer for, Marquise Pouncey with a block on the play. We didn't care. David DeCastro with a pancake. Okay, cool. Like, we didn't care about none of that. 72 is eligible. Oh, let's go. So, I'm just saying, Joe, maybe.
So what do you think it's going to be him then?
I do.
You think we're actually going to start running those formations then?
Well, the reason I'm not opposed to it is because if you have watched Canada's Pitt tape, he does have that in his repertoire where he's thrown passes to offensive linemen. So we were kind of joking about it, me and some of the other people I do shows with, about, man, if Canada was going to do this, who is he throwing it to? We're like, well, Al probably makes the best sense because of his former pedigree. But then we're like, well, he's a free agent right now, so that's not going to work. So he's kind of going through our list. But, I mean, if this is a guy that has already, had a pass thrown to him before, and if Tom Brady was throwing a pass to him, I think he'll be okay catching the pass from, anybody else, right? But to see, what Canada has been able to do with some of that stuff, I just don't rule it out. That's the big thing. So
we tried it against Washington with Chooks.
Yeah, we tried it with Chooks. And also earlier, didn't we try it? We threw one to Hawkins.
I can't remember.
Yeah. It was Gerald Hawkins. Yeah, we threw one to him as well.
Maybe that was the Washington
I think
one.
that was the one, yeah. Because Chooks would have been starting at right tackle.
Okay.
Yeah, so that was the game then, yeah. Because it was to the right side. Threw it, was rolling out. Was it third? It was like third down or something like that.
Yeah, I think you're right on that.
Yeah. So we've definitely seen some of that stuff. But the reason why you do it is because defensively, we like to gamble when you get an extra O-lineman on the field. We told you extra O-lineman and fullbacks, we're blitzing that. We're treating it like, this guy's not going to catch a pass. And we know that you bring him on the field because you want to either run the ball this way or you're passing the ball. So we treat it like, hey, we're going to be reckless. Why can it be successful for the offense? What happens when that extra lineman is actually athletic enough to fake the block and turn around and catch a pass? Especially when it's condensed field, red zone areas, or if it's third and short, fourth and short. That's the type of stuff that catches you off guard. You don't do it. You don't major in it. You don't do it multiple times. This is a one-off. You know what I mean? But that type of stuff, though, man, you could definitely do it, and it can catch you by surprise. And that's why a lot of times you see it in the red zone, and teams score very frequently on these type of plays because as a defender, I'm smaller than this guy, so I don't have the luxury of guessing. I don't have the luxury of I'm gonna play this and react to that. I have to decide right now, because if he comes off this ball playing and he's trying to run block me, I don't stand a chance. So I have to be full speed go, and that's why that type of stuff can work, man. So I like it, though. I like it.
So maybe in those situations, like let's say Banner could be the starting right tackle or left tackle, whatever it is, but just for those goal line situations, we're like, oh man, he gives us the best chance to catch the pass, so we'll bump him out and we'll put this dude in the normal left tackle spot. So maybe you could have the best of both worlds.
Well, and think about this, Matt Canada staple, right? What did we see last year early on? We saw Al Villanueva lined up on the right side, remember? Now, it was a pre-snap shift because Ben goes through his cadence, and then after that, Al checks back over. But they could have easily ran a play out of that formation, and it would just been an unbalanced line. So Al technically could have been eligible, depending on, I can't remember where he was lined up exactly on that right side, but depending on where he's at, that end guy is an eligible receiver. So your end guy on that situation was either going to be Chooks or it was going to be Al, right? Just depending on how they were lined up. As a defense, we got to talk about that. If we haven't prepared for that, that's a blown coverage. That can get you right there. So it's things like that where you already seen Canada just giving you the blueprint of it. He hasn't really deep dove into that thing. And I'm just like, man, all right, come on, Joe. Or Zach, whichever one. I like it, though.
So you just like the move in general? I do. Yeah. I mean, we need that. We definitely need offensive line depth. He's not a bona fide starter. He's not the greatest of all time. But just as someone, if someone gets hurt, we could plug him in there. Versatility. I'm good with it.
Yeah, I mean,
championship pedigree.
Yeah, he's played inside and outside. He's played at guard and at tackle. Obviously, last year he played in 12 games, but he didn't start. I think he started.
It was like 3 or 4.
Yeah, excuse me. Yeah, he started 3 or 4. He played all 4 postseason games, but he only started either 1 or 2 regular season games. But it was at guard. That was the thing. So they say he's obviously been able to play guard or tackle, but he's operated mainly as that extra O lineman. So no different than what Zach Banner's role was 2 years ago. So it's going to be interesting to see how he plays from a competition standpoint. I actually had a chance to catch up with Zach Banner as well since he signed his new deal. And from, his conversation with Coach Tomlin, he basically said that he's not slated at right or left tackle just yet. He just knows that he's going to be able to compete for one of the starting spots. That's what they communicated to him. So he says that they could still draft a guy early. Right. They could still go out here. Based on how this free agency is with these new voidable contracts, I was going to say you couldn't go out here and spend too much on free agency, but they got $2 million left on the cap. They could sign a $30 million deal, 34 in signing bonus, $1 million in base salary, 4 voidable years. Apparently. So, yeah, they got options. They got options.
I've never seen this in my life.
That makes 2 of us, baby. And for everybody that says, we've been doing this, show me where this was talked about 2 months ago. Because not one network, not one person talked about this voidable year stuff until we saw it happen with who? Taysom Hill. And then after that, Ben, and there's so forth and so forth. Even Juju's voidable years. So now it's just like, all right.
Which is hilarious because whenever we were talking on the phone, I thought it was just 1 year, $8 million deal. No. Which essentially is.
It is. That's what it is.
But I didn't know it was a 5-year deal with all these voidable years.
It's a 1 year, $7 million upfront, $1 million base signing bonus or base salary, 4 voidable years afterwards. I'm just like, bruh, what type of? When did we start doing this?
We could have brought back Bud Dupree probably
for all that. But we're gonna sign you to a 1 year, $17 million deal, 16 in signing bonus, $1 million base salary. Now you're good to go. 4 voidable years afterwards. if this loophole was so prevalent, what have we been doing? Mike Hill, and I should have called. Hey, Mike, look, we're gonna sign you. Would you sign you 4 for 28? We're gonna give you, Mike. Let's see, 4 out of 28. All right, we're gonna give you an $8 million deal, 8 up front, 7 up front. Excuse me. $1 million in the base salary. In fact, because we'll make it 9 up front, $1 million in the base salary. How about that? That sound better for you? And then we'll have 4 avoidable years afterwards. We're gonna cap everyone. I just don't get it. I'm still trying to figure out how this loophole has come about and what are the ramifications of it, because it reminds me of when we first heard about restructuring contracts, right? It was like the new fad of, oh, okay, well, you can just restructure instead of cutting guys. And then we started to realize down the line the ramifications. And we saw that obviously with Ben this year with the 22.5 mil signing, 22.5 mil that was going to be on his dead cap, regardless of what they did from a pay standpoint, solely because of the restructures prior to this. But I'm like, if this is the new thing, I kind of like this voidable year thing better than the restructure, because it comes off like there isn't any crumbs on the back end. We get a hard exit and we're good. That's what it sounds like. And I'm assuming over those 4 voidable years, you just disperse that signing bonus. From my understanding, I'm still trying to gather information on it, but that's kind of what I've come to it. It's like, all right, if you got 12 million as your signing bonus, 1 million for the base salary, you're only going to count 1 mil for that cap, or a little bit over 1 mil. And then, however, the 3 or 4 avoidable years after that, you spread out that remaining 12 million from the signing bonus, and that would just count on the cap, right? Dead money, or however you want to count it, but it's going to count on the cap and just spread it out those remaining 4 years. That's what I'm taking from it.
That makes sense, but it sounds like, on the other hand, it just wipes everything clean.
That's the part that's confusing me, because I've heard that where, it's off the books.
That's what, whenever Ben did the contract.
Yes, they say it's off the books after next year. I'm just like, how is it off the books after next year when you said that the 16 or whatever that he signed for was all in signing bonus? Because remember, they said 90% of it was in signing bonus, and he's only going to have like the vet minimum for base salary this year. So where does the 16 or however much million, where is that counting? It has to count somewhere. Signing bonus money still counts on the cap. It just, you can disperse what year it counts on the cap, and the hits of it. You can say, okay, I want 50% of it up front, then we'll do 25% for the next 3 years. You can do however you want to do, but it still has to count. That's my thing. I'm just like, how is it not counting? Like, I don't understand this at all, man.
I'm hoping it doesn't. But with this specific type of contract, it seems like it would only work for players that want the 1 year deal.
Yeah. Oh, yeah.
That would be it.
You got to take, because the voidable.
But at this point, man, it does seem like people are willing to be more flexible with their futures.
But I think also with these essential 1 year deals, they are a little bit more front loaded, right? In terms of why you would take this 1 year voidable contract. I'm taking this when I know I'm going to get 7 mil up front. If you were going to hit me with, you're going to get 4 mil up front and then another 4 next year, it's not as appealing. You know what I mean? But sure. I think that's a part of this thing as well, because you're getting this as signing bonus, and signing bonus is different. Signing bonus, as soon as I sign my check, I get that money. As soon as I sign the contract, I'm getting that within 12 days. Whereas base salary, you're getting 1/16. So every game you play,
17.
Oh yeah, actually it's 1/17 now. All right, so $1 million in base salary turns out to be, in off the top of my head, this could be as simple as you're getting like 70 or 80K per game now, right? Because it's 1/17 now. Just quick math off the top of my head, you divide it by 17. I don't know it exactly, so don't.
No, we get what you're saying,
but that's how it's going to be. So a lot of times you want the signing bonus, because I'm going to get that money in bulk. I'm going to get, if I sign for 12 mil. After tax, I'm going to be walking away with about 7 or 8 mil right on the spot 12 days from when I sign that deal. From a business standpoint, you can invest, whatever you're doing. Like,
you have like an extra 6 months with that money.
Absolutely. It's a lot better. And you don't have to worry about, okay, is it taxed a little bit more because I'm playing in LA this weekend? Because that's the other thing, right?
Damn.
Yeah, wherever you play, you pay taxes there as well.
That's wild.
So if you play in Buffalo, okay, you're paying New York tax. So instead of it being the full 60, you might only got 50 this week. You know what I mean? So it fluctuates. So if you're going to get it all up front in the signing bonus, you're like, absolutely, let me get that part of it. So it does make sense from a player's standpoint, if you were going to take that chance, why you would do it. And for the guys that have been doing it, I mean, it's not like you're passing up on mega multi-year deals like with Juju, right? We know the report said he had multiple offers. No multi-year offers, though. That's the difference.
Unless it was like the 4th, 5th, or 6th team.
Right. Because he said allegedly the Eagles were the only multi-year team, but we still don't have any hard proof on that. The hard proof we have are who? We said it was the
Ravens
the Chiefs
and the Chiefs.
Right, the Ravens and the Chiefs. If all 3 of those deals are 1-year deals, then yeah, okay, it makes sense. You come on back. But in terms of multi-year deals, you're not passing up on a multi-year deal to do a 1-year like this. And that's the thing. So you think about Ben. Ben was at that point where they were either going to release him or we're going to try to figure out, if you can come back on a 1 year. They weren't interested in doing a multi-year thing just yet, right? So it makes sense for Ben to say, all right, I'll take the 1 year voidable deals. Juju, similar conversation, right? All right, I want to get paid double digits. I'm not getting these offers right now. Everybody's offering me 1 year. So if I'm going to take a 1 year, let me come back to this situation. I'm familiar. And then I'm going to try to hit it again for a multi-year deal, whether it's in Pittsburgh or elsewhere. But it makes sense for him to do that. Bud Dupree, this one it makes sense for, right? For Bud, when you look at the deal that he was able to get, was it 5 for 80 or something like that? Like that's what you want. You don't want to, if you're Bud, you wouldn't want to take a 1 for 17 when you can get a 5 for 80 with, was it 35 fully guaranteed and things like that. So I understand the loophole a little. Actually, I'm not gonna lie to you. I don't understand the loophole at all right now.
Well, maybe it's the timing too, where the cap's down a little bit this year, and it's supposed to bump up next year. Mm-hmm. I think maybe that's
with the new TV deals, which you just saw got rolled out.
Which one? The ESPN one?
Yeah,
with Disney. Yeah. They're gonna host 2 Super Bowls.
Yep. And then,
I didn't see the money though.
So it's ESPN. They did it. Oh my goodness, who else is renewed? Oh my god, is it Amazon Prime? Like for Thursday nights or no? It was either Amazon Prime. They have full like coverage of all Thursday night games now as well.
Oh wow!
Yeah, it was like a multi thing with like multiple networks. I think it released a little bit last week time frame, but it was right around that time when the
Juju
stuff
I think I did
out.
Hear about that because I was listening to some other people on a podcast talking about Amazon now having to probably build out an NFL programming where they have like a pregame show, postgame show, just from scratch.
Yeah. So it is. I mean, like, from a cap standpoint, you're anticipating a very substantial increase next year and so forth and things like that. So for some of these guys, Juju being one of them, it definitely makes sense to do something like that, though.
Well, dude, and the market was so weird for receivers this year, where Juju was the 4th highest paid on, I think, a year by year basis. Mm-hmm. Let me pull this up. This was just crazy though. The 3rd, 4th, and 5th. Mm-hmm. Or no, I'm sorry. 2nd, 3rd, and 4th highest paid receivers this year. Yeah. So first was Kenny Golladay. He's solid, but I think that contract was absurd.
I mean, dude, the thing that was surprising about that deal was you think about Juju's market, you think about Emmanuel Sanders' market, you think about John Brown's market, you think about all these receivers in their markets. Mm-hmm. And we're all saying, what, man, the receiver market is down. Take your 1 year deal wherever you can go right now and then try to hit it again next year. Then Kenny Golladay signs this deal, and we're just like 4 years, 72 mil, 40 up, like
bona fide receiver one money.
Like seriously, and we're all just like, out of all the receivers that got paid, and Kenny's a good receiver,
good, really solid.
But we never felt that he was 4 for 72, 40 million guaranteed. We thought this
12, 13.
We thought this could have been one of the things that, all right, a team might potentially overpay for Juju in this vein, but that never materialized. But to see Kenny get that, I'm just like, wow. I was definitely surprised by that.
2nd, 3rd, and 4th, though, is completely shocking. Corey Davis.
Yes.
$12.5 million per year. Mm-hmm. Curtis Samuel, $11.5. He's pretty solid. Yeah. Nelson Aguilar at $11 million. Yeah. That is just wild. And then you have in the mid tiers, Juju, 8, Marvin Jones, 6.25, AJ Green at 6, Sanders at 6, and then, like you said, John Brown at 3.75 can get up to 5. That's crazy, dude. That's where the value was, in my opinion, with the receiver market.
Well, the Corey Davis deal was the deal, another one that we thought could see Juju getting, especially with the Jets. We're like, bro, this is the team that, and when they brought Juju, Juju was talking to them. I don't know if he actually took a trip down there, but he was having conversations with them. We thought that this could be that type of deal right there. But if they want to go with Corey Davis, I mean, listen, we're glad that Juju is back. However it had to work out. And we said, man, if you could get him back at an affordable rate, yes, he makes your team better. You want to keep him. We said that at times when the other receivers on the team were struggling, he was the consistent factor. We know the toughness that he brings. He does all the dirty work. He does all of those things. But we wanted to make sure that if you were going to get him back, that it was at an affordable rate because you already had Deontay and Claypool, and we talked about James Washington. But seeing what the other receivers had signed for, yeah, you can make a case of, all right, would you have rather had Emmanuel Sanders or John Brown for this similar price, right? The 1 year, $8 million, or even a guy like Antonio Brown. But all three of those guys were going to lose an element that Juju has, and that's the just the grunt work, the physicality, the hustle plays, the rapport with Ben. Obviously, AB has that to an extent, but you would lose that element. Now, obviously, you would get a little bit more in terms of your route running, your downfield threats with the other two guys, but you could just see where for the money in the deals, dude, I think it makes sense for both parties here, Juju and the Steelers.
No, absolutely, because one of the concerns with a Juju deal up in the double digits was like, we have these other two receivers or three receivers, if you want to throw in James Washington too, that are going to need to get paid in the future. Yes. Mm-hmm. If we're paying Juju double digits, that really kills our flexibility going forward. So we keep Juju back. We don't have to worry about a receiver in this draft at all or for the upcoming season. We're pretty set at the position. Like you said, the familiarity with Ben. Ben really wanted him back. It seems like Juju really wanted to be back too.
Yeah,
so
definitely kept saying it, man.
It really makes sense on all sides because now we're going to have so much cap space in the upcoming season. And we'll see what happens from there if we could re-sign Juju to another, I guess, a longer-term deal, I guess. It seems like he really does want to be back in Pittsburgh. That's what his mom's saying and stuff. Yeah. But then we'll at least know a little bit more because, one, we'll have more just tape and just seeing what this receiver group does together. And maybe then you could start picking and choosing, like, which one, if we had to, would we be able to let go? Maybe it is Juju after next year, but at least we have another year of Juju with the Steelers.
Mm-hmm. Now, the other conversation has been going around surrounding this deal are the winners and losers, right? Did Juju lose free agency by coming back on this 1 year, $8 million deal? What were your thoughts on that, man?
I don't think, because unless he was getting these Corey Davis, Samuel, and Aguilar offers, what else are you going to do?
Yeah.
You want to, so I understand you want to go to the Chiefs or you go to the Ravens, but I think he wanted to stay here. He wanted to stay with Pittsburgh. He wanted to stay with Big Ben. Yeah. That's just his choice. I think the money was similar enough. I know those incentives, it was $3 million.
I think it was 3 in Baltimore, 4 in Kansas City.
I don't know how for sure he was going to hit those incentives or not. But, well, that is $3 or $4 million difference. That's not bad. But if you really want to stay in Pittsburgh, dude, I think $8 million was higher than I thought he was going to get at that point. I thought he was going to get like 5 or 6.
Well, I think we all did until we realized this loophole of the affordable years element. I mean, outside of that, there wasn't a way. Right now, the Steelers have $2.2 million in cap space. And it would not surprise if they go sign somebody on a 1 year, $12 million, 4 avoidable year deal. And we're just like, oh, it only counts 1.3 on the cap. Make it make sense. Like, that's the biggest reason why none of us really thought that Juju could come back on a deal of this much money. This is good money for Juju, though. If you think about the $8 million range, that's the market. We said, man, you 8 to 12. We said 12
that was
is like,
fair. Yeah, overpay would be double digits. Yeah.
Right, but we said 6, 7, 8 is realistic for him. So understanding they were able to structure it the way that they did, I don't think it's a loss for Juju. And in terms of the narrative of Juju took less to come back, you can make the case for that, but I don't view it as less solely because incentive-based money is not your money. It's a difference when your contract is $8 million, your contract is $8 million, your contract is $7.5 million. Because Baltimore's $8 million, obviously Kansas City was 7.5. So we're all in the same range. There was a $500,000 difference, but obviously they have more incentives. The reason why I don't count incentives is this. That incentive can read, Juju, if you have 100 catches, then, you'll get an extra $1 million. If you have 15 touchdowns, you'll have an extra $1 million. Juju, if you lead the league in receiving yards, you'll get an extra $1 million. So it's like,
Chiefs win the Super Bowl.
You know what I mean?
Chiefs make it to AFC Championship.
So think about it. Is Juju going to get 100 catches in Kansas City's offense with Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce? No. Is he going to get 100 catches in Baltimore? No. Is he going to have 15 touchdowns in Kansas City? Probably not. Think about AB led the league in touchdowns with 15 1 year. And it was a lot. That's a ton of touchdowns. Yeah. It's not happening. Baltimore, he's not going to get 15 touchdowns more than likely. So that's $2 million that you wouldn't have right there. Then, all right, team success, right? AFC Championship game or Super Bowl appearance. We know how crazy that gets at times. So that's why for me, seeing the incentive-based money, that's more so for the media. That's more so for people to look at it and be like, well, man, they offered more. They didn't offer more. That incentive thing is fluky. And that's
what I thought too.
And those are at least attainable incentives that I threw out there, right? And as crazy as they sound, that's the attainables. I've seen some incentives where it's like, even more reckless. You're like, bro, I've never had 13 sacks in my year. What you mean? I'm instead of 15 sacks? Like, what? Like, come on, bro. But that's the type of stuff you'll see. So that's why I don't count incentive money as.
It's a great storyline.
Right.
Took less to come back to Pittsburgh. Right. It's great.
I mean, it sounds good, right? Oh, you turned down Mahomes? Man, they were going to offer you 14 to go play with Mahomes. You came back to Ben for 8? Yeah. No. And this isn't a shot at anybody, but it's like, that's the truth of incentive-based money. No different when Le'Veon turned down rolling guarantees. Hey, as long as you healthy, you're playing well, we'll keep you on. You get to March next year, your contract's guaranteed, rolling guarantee. It's a little bit different than fully guaranteed, right?
For sure.
So same concept right here, man. Incentive-based money, don't fall for the banana in the tailpipe, man. Don't fall for it. So for me, understanding that element of it, I thought it made perfect sense for Juju. Sure. I love this deal for Juju. I think it makes sense for the Steelers as well. You get a guy that you know is going to be productive. You know he's reliable. And he's going to be very motivated because of why? He wants to get paid. He wants the long-term deal. 1-year deal is cool. It's cool. But you don't have job security on a 1-year deal. That 1-year deal, okay, I can't have a bad year. I can't get hurt. Period. You got to make sure that you're doing your thing. I mean, Bud was a prime example of it. It worked out for him. But he could have probably hit even more if he would have played the full year, right? Without getting the injury. So you always just think about those things on 1-year deals. The stakes are a lot higher. You're betting on yourself, essentially. But for Juju, this makes sense because you don't sign a multi-year deal if it's not going to pay you that type of crazy money that he could get.
And potentially happiness at play, too. If the Jets were in the
happiness, man.
Well, if the Jets were in the mix or maybe some bottom feeder team like the Jaguars. He saw what happened with Bell. Mm-hmm. You got to weight that stuff. What do you want a little bit more? I think Bell chose the money a little bit more than staying back in Pittsburgh. Right. But if Juju really loves it here, then you come back.
But I was going to say, just with that narrative, though, always be a little careful because, remember, L. Bell didn't go to New York on a 1-8 year. He went there for life-changing, generational money. When the money is like that, the logo on the team, it becomes less of a factor because $80 million is $80 million. It doesn't matter if I'm in Des Moines, Iowa, or if I'm in Miami, Florida. You know what I mean? But when it's like this, I do agree with you. When it's 1-for-8s, when it's 1-year deals, prove it deals, or betting on yourself type of stuff, 100% situation matters a lot more than that extra $1 or $2 million that he could have got going somewhere else.
Yeah, if it was the Jaguars or Jets, we just don't know what those deals are that potentially came out.
Very true.
We have no clue. But another thing that I really liked about it, one, the Steelers offense versus like Chiefs or Ravens, you got to think just coming back. I think he would have fit with the Chiefs and the Ravens fine. But dude, he had last year 97 receptions, and we kind of considered it as a potential off year. We thought it could have been better. So you come back, your role with the Steelers, but also the Chiefs or Ravens don't get Juju and improve their teams. They're AFC contenders. And that's what I'm saying. I think he would have fit fine with the Chiefs and the Ravens. He would have been good for like little slant routes, little drag routes with Lamar whenever they're doing read options. Yeah. And then with the Chiefs, you got the possession guy where Tyreek Hill's taking the top off the defense and Travis Kelce's this bona fide tight end. I think he would have fit in pretty good. Yeah. But to get him back in Pittsburgh, that takes away from the other two teams as well.
Very true. Takes away from them. And I think we all agree his best fit is in Pittsburgh. Even though like you say, you get a little bit, or depending on how people want to put it out there, Mahomes, obviously you're going to get more from a passing standpoint. With Lamar, I think he gets open more because of the deception of their offense, right? You think about when you see Holloway catching passes, it's not a lot of combat catches. Whenever you see Lamar throwing it downfield, it's a lot of just wide open guys running. Very similar to college almost, but that's because of the fakes they're able to do up front. So I think Juju would have got more chunk plays there, but I don't think he would have had the consistent play in and play out success that he has in Pittsburgh. I think in Kansas City, he would have just, benefited from playing with a guy like Patrick Mahomes. But I think target-wise, he would have been limited because of, like you said, when you got Tyreek Hill and Travis Kelce, who are arguably the best player at their position, league-wide, those guys they're going to get their touches. And they already have their rapport with Mahomes. So for Juju, even though he's not number one on paper in terms of wide receiver one here in Pittsburgh,
some people say it. Everyone's got a different wide receiver one right now. Right?
It's crazy. But for me, I look at it like this. I don't care who's wide receiver one on paper. We know who's wide receiver one to been, and that's Juju. Anytime it's got to have it. Anytime it's clutch. Anytime it's late in the game. Anytime it's possession downs, we all know who he's looking at. Think about it. I mean, it's been times where he might have had touchdown passes to other receivers, but he goes to his guy. Right, wrong, or indifferent. I mean, we saw him do it with AB as well. I mean, this is what you do. When you get that type of rapport, you go to those guys. And that's what Juju is. So to me, I'm like, man, this is perfect sense for Juju, man. Stay here, ball out, 1 year. And then after that, man, you can either re-sign when the cap goes up, when they got a lot more flexibility, or you can go hit the market and see if it's a little bit better for you next year. But either way, this makes the most sense for him right now.
I agree. I was excited.
Yeah, man. Yes, indeed. But we also got another guy we got to talk about too, man.
What do we got?
This is the ripple effect of the Juju coming back. Not just Juju coming back, but the salary cap and things like that. And obviously the Steelers need to have a little more flexibility. So the ripple is a certain cornerback on our team has now been granted permission for a trade. And we're talking Steven Nelson. But before we deep dive into the Steven Nelson conversation and things like that, they say this is the best podcast, right? People love our podcast, right?
I've heard it.
We don't self-proclaim. That's like giving yourself a nickname. You can't do it. You can't call yourself the best podcast. This is what people say to us. They say they love the content. They love the Steelers. They love Moats and Deke. They say, man, you got your Deke crew and you got your Moats crew. We're the yin and the yang of life. Are we not? We are so yin and yang, bro. Think about everything we do. It's yin and yang. You got Apple. I got Matt. You know what I mean? You got the khakis. I got the denim on. You know what I mean? Like this is, we're yin and yang. We're yin and yang. This is what we are. You know what I mean? But with that being said, people like our yin and yang, and they like to support our yin and yang. So if you're going to continue to support our yin and yang, the best way to do it is by copping the merch, baby. You know the merch. Come on now. Hoodies, t-shirts, coffee mug, because people like to drink coffee. I'm more of a tea drinker than a coffee drinker.
Same.
But I still drink it out the mug, you know what I mean? Because it's the Art the Most Experience with Deke podcast. So if you're enjoying the content, you see right under the video, it's all these little boxes, all these different little merchandise things. Support the podcast that you love, baby. It's that simple.
I didn't know you were going that direction with it. I thought you were going to say subscribe. Do that as well.
Never go wrong with that. Let's go, Deke.
Hey, you could do that as well.
And that was so natural. It just played on perfectly right there. We're very simpatico right now. Very simpatico. Say you can subscribe too. So with that being said, make sure you cop the merch and then make sure you subscribe while you're at it. And like the video and drop some comments on that thing, which y'all already do. So shout out to y'all. But to continue on, man, the guy we got to talk about is Steven Nelson. Man, this is an interesting one. Obviously, guest of the show, man. Definitely check out that interview. Not even for Steelers content, just his story was awesome.
Oh,
man.
yeah.
Like betting on yourself, taking chances, the living conditions at the JUCO, like it was nuts, man. It's a really good story.
100%.
And it really gives you a better appreciation of him, because I know once the reports initially came out of him requesting a trade, it kind of was mixed in terms of the reasoning. Some people looked at it as, oh, he's being a prima donna, he wants more money, and more so attacking the character element of him, versus the people that saw the real reasoning was because the Steelers were saying that we're either going to release you, we're probably going to release you. So we'll give you the opportunity to facilitate a trade on your own behalf. So that way, if you can get the trade done, you can pick your destination. Contract still stays the same. You don't have to hassle of being released. You don't have to deal with just the feeling of being released. Some people look at it as an embarrassment. Some people don't, but to each his own with that. But they're at least giving him that luxury. So people initially looked at it as, man, Steven doesn't want to be here anymore and this and that. But it was never that type of thing. And I
never thought that at all.
But that was the biggest reason why I said to even check the interview out as well. Because it's like, if you know him, you hear the interview, he is the last guy that you're going to be thinking of from that vein. That's going to be, all right, I was here for a couple years. Now I'm ready to move on to the next spot. That's not going to be the case. You know what I mean?
No, yeah, I definitely didn't think that at all. I thought it was just unfortunate circumstances with where we're at, cap-wise, whatever it is. And yeah, we're just trying to figure it out.
Yeah, that's definitely the case, man. We already knew we were going to be cap struck. It was going to be a tight situation. Obviously, you still have to account for your draft picks and things like that. So even though we joke about them having $2.2 million, and yeah, you can essentially go out there and sign somebody else on a 1 year, whatever, with voidable years, they still got to make sure they have enough money to sign their draft picks, to sign undrafted free agents and things like that. So yes, this is a part of freeing up some more of that money. So the narrative of you're bringing back Juju at the expense of Steven Nelson isn't 100% true, because that was the other thing of why people...
The numbers are so similar.
Right. They were like, oh, man, I don't want Juju back if that means that. That wasn't the case either. You know what I mean? Like, Juju coming back, does it play a part in it? Yes. But as a whole, they still have to free up money. So you go and they basically chose between Joe Hayden and Steven Nelson when it came down to it. They already released Vince Williams. They weren't going to touch the Castro once things continue to progress through the offseason. So they said, okay, between Joe and Steven, and they chose to stick with Joe. Now, you can make the case of which corner you think is better. I thought the first year we thought Steven Nelson played better. I thought last year Joe played better, but obviously Joe was older. So it just depends on how how you want to view it, man. I don't think it was a right or wrong either way. I'm biased to Joe because Joe's my guy. Obviously, you know what class he came in with as well, so you know how I feel about that. And
he's got that reputation of being CB1 wherever he's been.
Whereas with Steven, that was the gamble that we took, and it paid off that he could come here and play at a high level. But before that, I mean, he didn't have a lot of high-end productivity. Even when he had the league-leading interceptions, it was you were the league leader in terms of targets as well. So the perception around him was always different compared to Joe. But like I said, if we're going to keep Joe, I mean, I love Joe. Joe's my guy. And Joe, man, he talk about a guy that can cover at a high end, but he's not afraid to stick his face in the fan. And he's the swaggiest dude I know, Team Jordan. You know how I feel about that. So it's just like, I understand it. But like I said, the biggest thing was just making sure that people understood that it wasn't Steven Nelson actually wanting to be traded or wanting to be released. This is just a product of business. This is the product of the cap being what it was this year and them having to make necessary moves to continue to have that roster in compliance and things like that.
What do you think about potential trades? The one that I'm seeing is Eagles, Zach Ertz. Mm-hmm. Somehow, some way, maybe we get a draft pick in return. Yeah. Maybe we have to send a draft pick. I'm not 100% sure.
Now, how much is left on Zach Ertz's contract?
I don't know.
I have to figure
That's
out. That's
what I'm wondering. Now, they took on a lot of Carson Wentz's deal, right? So I wonder if
they took on the lion's share of it. Remember, they got 30, I think it's 33, 34 million, the largest dead cap hit in NFL history. The Eagles are taking on right now.
So I wonder if they'd be able to do something like that then.
I'm trying to think. What if because the Colts, they just gave up a second rounder? Was it a second rounder or a third rounder?
Oh man, Colts. What did they give up?
Because it wasn't a first rounder. It was because the Colts still have their first rounder from this year.
It might have been next year.
Yeah.
I'm not 100% sure. I could look it up real quick.
Yeah, well, you got the computer right there. Come on, man. What's the point of having this fancy stuff right if you're not going to utilize it? Jeez.
I would kind of like the move if we can make it work from a cap standpoint. That combo of Ertz and Ebron, we definitely need a second tight end. Yeah. So if we're picking between Ertz and Jesse James, I'm definitely taking Ertz.
This is my question to you, though. Is Ertz and Ebron two similar styles of play?
That's fair.
Because they're both receiving threats. Now, if I'm picking between the two, obviously I like Ertz because he's just the more short-handed receiver. But to me, that's my only dilemma with it, right? When you talk about having Ertz and Ebron out there simultaneously, who we blocking?
All right, so here's what it is. It's Eagles receive 85th overall pick this year's draft. Do you remember this now? You'll remember it as soon as I say it. Conditional second rounder for next year that could turn into a first rounder if he plays 75, 70%, whatever it is. So that was the deal. Or if they
win a certain amount of games,
Yeah, that was the deal.
Yep. So that makes sense now. So, so if we could do something conditionally, I'm going to be opposed to it. Ertz is still, I think he might be 30. Is he 30?
30. Yeah, probably 30, 31.
Yeah. So I like it, but like I said, for me, if I'm going to bring in Ertz on a trade, then the way I probably would make my moves in correspondence, I would probably release Ebron and bring in a Jesse because Jesse can block. Or I want to bring in a bona fide blocking tight end. Think about when we had Ebron and Vance. It became real evident that Vance was going to be your blocking tight end. I just think unless you're going to get a guy who can do both, you have to have one this is my receiving tight end and this is my blocking tight end. Otherwise, you're going to be very handicapped from a running game standpoint where you're always going to have to go extra O-lineman. And when you keep on extra O-lineman, you tip your hand. We get to see that and we're going to say, okay, every time you bring him in there, it's a telltale sign now.
So that's the thing. Would you rather... Well, Kyle Rudolph already signed, so would you rather have Ertz over Ebron then? Or is that too much maneuvering around?
Put it like this. I would if I could have the numbers similar. If I can't get the numbers similar in terms of making it match Ebron's cap hit, then I personally don't want to touch. Even though I think Ebron, I do think Ertz is a nice upgrade over Ebron. I just don't think he's worth the money that we could spend elsewhere. That's the big thing. You know what I mean? Because we still have other pieces that we're going to have to fix. In terms of, you still, like I said, whether it's running back, O-line, however we want to address, we're still going to address that. We're still going to do some addressing on the defense side of the ball as it pertains to linebacker as well. You look at the inside linebacker depth, we don't have any. You look at outside linebacker depth, we don't have any. You look at how many draft picks we have, it's not enough draft picks to fill all of these holes. Then, obviously, we talked about, now, I think from a corner standpoint, that might become less of a...
Pierre Island.
Right, well, that's the thing. So... Cam Sutton is looking like he's going to get the nod to be the starting slot corner, but I think that they might roll James Pierre to start on the outside, or at least to compete for it, right?
What has happened? Literally, the dude has played like one game last year.
Okay. Yeah, seriously.
And the hype is out, just out the wazoo. And I'm all about it.
Because the way that, now, they can do a couple of things from the secondary standpoint. They did a little bit of this with Cam Sutton in the Browns game in week 17. He started at outside corner. Then on possession downs, third down, sub package downs where you're getting 3 or more receivers, he would bump in to play corner, he would play slot corner. So what they could do, instead of having James Pierre start at outside, you start Cam Sutton opposite of Joe Hayden. And then when it's third down and you go sub package ball, then you can bump Cam inside to play slot corner and have James Pierre play outside. I haven't seen James Pierre play in the slot just yet, so I don't know if he's capable of that. Based on his build, he's built more like an outside corner, long, rangy. So that's something that they've done with Cam Sutton before. Now, I don't know if they would want to do that full time because that can become a little bit more challenging. Now, Cam is a guy, not personally knowing him, he is smart enough to do this. It's difficult, but he is definitely smart enough to do it where he can bounce from position to position all within the same series and be fine.
That makes the signing that much better.
Yeah, it definitely does. But now the problem is you put a lot of faith in him staying healthy. Because if he goes down, now you can see how you're going to have multiple issues because he's starting at outside, starting at inside. You didn't feel comfortable enough with James Pierre being the starter going forward. Now you can see the bind that you might put yourself in a little bit with that. But that's one way that they can go about it. The other way is they could just say, we're going to bring in somebody else. I saw names like Casey, was it Casey Howard?
Hayward, yeah.
Excuse me, Casey Hayward, yeah. And
there
it was somebody else. It was another corner that I saw.
There have been some decent cornerbacks. Well, Dory Jackson, I don't know if he signed yet. Maybe he signed as we're talking.
Didn't he go? He took his visit to the Giants, I want to say it was, right?
I haven't seen him connected with the Steelers in any way outside of Zach Banner saying, hey, come to Pittsburgh.
Right.
Because of the USC connection.
Well, I mean, you think about him and Juju, they were teammates there. Yeah. And obviously, I thought that was the interesting part when Juju took the little visits to the Jets because of Sam Darnold. I was like, oh, all right, I see the little USC connection going on, but yeah.
Yeah, if we could get a veteran cornerback, well, maybe with one of these 1-year deals with avoidable years, like even like Richard Sherman or something like that.
Dude,
like if we just brought someone that's been pretty solid throughout their career, just a solid starter on a 1-year deal, I think that makes sense.
I'm with it. Like I said, this whole avoidable year thing, if this is what it is, the way that they've been making it sound like, it doesn't sound like it's a limit on how many you can do. If that is the case, I'm 100% with it. And from here on out, I don't think we should ever care about the salary cap anymore. If this is the loophole, because this has effectively gave the one finger salute to the salary cap, has it not? I mean, the moves that we've been able to make, we knew what our cap situation was going into this. Zero chance any of this was supposed to happen until this voidable year loophole thing came to present, you know? So if that's the case, I don't care. We could just tear up all salary cap conversations and just roll like this from here on out. Who wants a 1-year deal? Who wants a 1 for 12? Who wants a 1 for 19?
Yeah, honestly, with these type of deals, it makes sense for Al to come back even then too.
Seriously, right? That's the thing I'm waiting. I'm like, all right, if we're doing 1-year avoidables, why not do the same thing with Al? Why not?
Now we don't have to worry about it in the draft.
Exactly. That takes another need off of our table. And now you're looking at the draft saying, well, hey, now we're worried about running back and linebackers.
Maybe center.
Maybe a center, but feel a lot more confident. And J.C. Hassenauer, I mean, obviously, depending on how you feel about him at center, he's had multiple games at center. He was obviously in week 17. He played a lot in that game at center. We've talked about him playing at guard as well. So it's depending on how they feel. That might not be as pressing of a need. You have a lot more luxury. 1 year, 4 avoidable years. Say, Al, looks like your market is about 15 mil. We'll give you 16. 1 year. 15 in signing bonus. $1 million in base salary. Who is saying you, big fella? I'm sick. Avoidable years. It's going to count 1.375 on the cap this year. How?
And it makes sense for Al specifically, or some of these cornerbacks that are a little bit older. Because if it was Al in his prime, like at 28, he wants the multi-year deal. Right. But now at this point, it's like, all right, let's play another year. Maybe I'll retire after next year. Maybe I want to keep going. Maybe I'll sign another 1-year deal.
And think about that was the conversation surrounding Al when the season ended this year. Was he going to retire? Would he come back? Now, Al is very different in terms of how he communicates that type of stuff. He's out. He goes off the grid. He's not social media guy. Like, he disappears on you. So, yeah, this is He might still be contemplating that stuff right now. We don't know. We don't know where he's at. We don't know what he's doing. Yeah. But that's just how. That's how he operates. So I do know from his standpoint, though, that even though, getting the most in terms of contracts is important for him because of his life experiences. You think about what he was able to see in his previous career, that has changed his perspective a lot in terms of how he views some of this stuff, just from personal conversations when he went through it the first go around, right? When he was it the Mike Hilton situation? He was exclusive rights free agent and things like that, but he was starting at the time at left tackle, and they went ahead and gave him a nice deal during that time frame. Those are some of the things that were talked about. It was like, well, man, how do you feel about this? Like, you want to get more? Do you not want to get more? And his perspective was very different, but heavily because of the stuff that he saw prior to coming and playing in the NFL. So we obviously have a huge respect for that element of it. But with him, he's a unique person from that standpoint, right? He could be a guy that would be a lot open to this and probably at a better rate than what we're even throwing out because of those variables as well. So that's one of the things that
keep an eye out.
Yeah, that definitely makes it a wild card element of it. And I think it helps in terms of if it were to become a bidding situation where teams were offering more, which they probably are, those type of things help us out in the long run.
Yeah, I swear we haven't even heard any rumors with him at all, like talking to any teams. Let me see real quick. Yeah, nothing on Google right now.
Yeah, man.
I'm serious. Like I typed in Kyle Rudolph just to make sure he was signed.
Pops up, man. Yeah.
Dude, yeah, top stories. There's 3 right here. Kyle Rudolph with the Giants. I type in Villanueva. There's articles that are coming up from like a couple months ago.
Yeah, bro.
So there's no news on him right now.
Yeah, man. So I do think similar to Juju, though, the longer it goes, the better the probability of him at least coming back or strongly considering coming back. Why is it significant? Even though, like I said, here in Pittsburgh, we kind of felt like, man, his play has declined and we're ready to move on. We still have to find someone that's going to be able to play to that level or better. He still was playing at a good enough level that he can go start at another team in the NFL. Not saying that he's going to be Pro Bowl level. Not saying that he's going to be dominant. Not saying that he's going to be good every snap. But he's going to give you a lot more good than bad plays out there right now. And finding another left tackle like that is just the supply-demand element of it. There's not a lot of supply of high-quality left tackles that aren't already signed to mega deals. I mean, left tackle is no different than quarterbacks. Typically, the good ones, you never get a chance to get on the market. It just is what it is.
Yeah, he was having trouble. Yeah. This has kind of been his MO, though, throughout his career with some of the smaller pass rushers, right?
Absolutely.
We saw that in the Bengals game. Was he going up against, for the most part, Myles Garrett in that wild card game? From what I remember, yeah, Myles Garrett was playing pretty good. He played good in that Thursday night game in 2019. Too,
Myles is Myles.
Yeah.
For everybody that hates on Myles, I'm like, you cut the tape on, it's different. I don't care about the guy personally, but you cut the tape on, you respect that. That's the thing. No different. We talked about even with Vontaze Burfict. He was another guy. People hate on Vontaze. I'm like, bro, you could say he's the most dirtiest player out there, but anybody that plays on the field with him, you know that's awesome. A dude. He can ball. Like the antics started to overshadow it, but he can ball. Like it's certain dudes just like, yeah, you got it.
Yeah, Myles Garrett, top 2 or 3 pass rusher in the league right now. I mean, you got between him and TJ.
Yeah.
I don't know, Chandler Jones. I don't know who else you would throw in that mix.
But it's different because he's a 4-3 DN, whereas those other guys, they kind of stand up a little bit. Now, Chandler, he stands up, but he's still a rush guy. He's not dropping like TJ and stuff like that. But no, he's definitely in that conversation, man. Put it like this. To avoid the having to nitpick who's 1 and 2, just say he's a top 5 edge rusher. Usually,
sure.
It's top 5.
Who won Defensive Player of the Year this year?
No. It was
was it
Aaron Donald.
I was okay.
Yeah, Aaron
I was gonna say, was it another edge rusher? Because I know in 2019 it was TJ and Chandler Jones in the mix.
Yep, it was Aaron Donald.
Myles Garrett was in the mix too. He got hurt or something. He missed a couple games.
Yep.
But yeah.
So you could definitely see, some of the pieces like that though. But either way, with Al, if he were to come back, I do think it would help us. Even if he doesn't win the job, if it's just solely to compete with Zach Banner and Zach takes over at left tackle, however you want to slice it, I just think that you can never have enough quality offensive linemen. Because even though how we view Al as taking a step back, do you think Al is better than J.C. Hassenauer right now? Do you think Al can play better than a B.J. Finney right now? To me, I personally think that he still can play up to that level of being better than those type of guys, even though they're different positions. I just think that he brings at least that level of play for his spot. Whereas you can see at the other spots where it might be a little bit more limited there. So knowing that, give me some more good pieces like that.
I agree. Yeah, and it goes back to the signing that we had, the dude that used to play with the Bucks.
Mm-hmm.
We just need guys, and if one of them's out, I'll take it for sure.
Absolutely, man.
What else we got?
Trying to see, man.
You want to talk about just around the league? Were there deals that surprised you? Deals you thought were terrible? Man. Winners, losers?
No, man. For real, though. We'll just focus on the division right now, right? Because we know we could do this all day.
Sure.
We'll focus on the division for right now, and then obviously next episode or something like that, we'll do more of around the league. But as it pertains to the division, Cleveland and Cincinnati. More so Cleveland, because I think they got pieces that are actually going to be impactful, and they had less holes. Meaning that bringing back Rashad Higgins, and then you get JoJo Natson. Not really worried about JoJo, but the Rashad Higgins part, I like that to the group they already have, right, from a receiving standpoint. Then defensively, you bring in Takk McKinley, former first-round pick. Now, he's the wild card of this thing, right? Could be very productive. Could stink it up a little bit. You just don't really know, but that's his vein, you know what I mean? But he's one of those guys, and knowing that Cleveland, they stole him from Cincinnati. Remember, Cincinnati was in the mix to try to get him at the end of this thing, and obviously ends up agreeing to the deal with the Cleveland Browns. But I like that, and I love the safety pickup. John Johnson, I think that's going to be a huge pickup for them, man. Obviously, he was with the Rams last year, but you think about how they struggled a little bit from that standpoint, especially when Grant Delpit went down during their training camp time frame. That was the guy they drafted to come in and bolster that secondary. Well, now you got him a running mate. Now you got somebody that's going to be able to ball up there with him, and then obviously you get Trey Hill, really good corner. I like what they did, man.
Yeah, those were some good moves, dude.
Yeah. What did you thought on Malik Jackson too? He used to be a dog.
No, you're right.
He used to be a dog. You know what happened? He went to Jacksonville. Jacksonville do it to you, boy.
That's why Juju didn't want to go to Jacksonville.
Jacksonville would do it.
Or the Jets.
He got paid, but God.
We're seeing what happened with Le'Veon. It's not necessarily Jacksonville, but those type of situations, man.
I mean, but he had to get paid. Malik had to get paid.
No, sure. And same with Bo, but in terms of 4 or 5 years down the line.
Yeah, them boys fell off a cliff down there.
You could be in free agency just sitting there like, holy shit.
Yeah.
I mean, speaking of Bo, are we still thinking?
If we bring him in, I think it's more so you're still going to have to draft one of those other three guys that I talked about. At this stage, I think that obviously the things that he'll still excel in, pass blocking, I love his receiving ability. Those two things are never going to go away. The thing that I'm more concerned about is the running element. He's not the fastest, right? He's more of a patient, make you miss, play off of the defense's aggression. That style works well with a dominant offensive line, or at least a high-end offensive line. Right now, our offensive line isn't, it's going to be serviceable. It should be above the line once it's fully complete. Right now, it's not complete, but I just don't think that his style is going to bode well from a rushing standpoint. I think he fits well from, like I said, if you're using him on second down, third down, stuff like that, I love it. But as a whole, I don't think he could be our feature and give us what we need from a full standpoint because of what we're more likely going to have in front of him as offensive line.
Because I'm looking at these numbers, dude. These running backs.
They're signing for crumbs.
Have got nothing.
Yeah, they're signing for crumbs.
Phillip Lindsay, $3.25 million. Mark Ingram, $2.5 million. Carlos Hyde, $2.25. Marlon Mack, $2 million. But even the top guys, Kenyon Drake at $5.5 a year.
You know the one I still want. What's up, Chris Carson? Did he sign anywhere yet?
He did.
Where did he go?
He resigned to Seattle.
He went back to Seattle.
I've seen different numbers on this. I've seen where it was like $8 million a year, but then Spot Rack saying right now it's $5.2 million a year.
Okay.
So it looks like we're not going to get him. James Conner's still out there.
Yeah.
There's some decent names. Matt Breida, I think he might be able to fit.
Fournette? Did Fournette sign anywhere?
Nope.
The only reason I thought about him, shout out to the TV. Fournette just popped up 448 yards from scrimmage in the postseason.
Yeah, bro. He hasn't signed Le'Veon Bell. There's some names still out there. Frank Gore. AP.
That's the ageless wonder.
AP.
Didn't AP say he would come here?
Yeah, he said this is one of the teams he was interested in. I think he said Chiefs, Tampa Bay. He said Steelers.
I look at AP the same way I would look at Le'Veon, though. I would like them as a B or C to whatever we are going to be picking up in the draft. I feel like you got to get one of those three guys that we talked about, though, in terms of the three running backs, the premier guys. You got to get one of those guys here to bolster that running back.
You see your boy Etienne. He was saying like, oh man, I could really see myself with the Steelers. I think it'd fit really well. I think he had like a really long conversation.
Yeah, they did down at the pro day. Yes, indeed. So I'm just saying, man. I just need one of them. If we get one of them, you could bring L. Bell. You can even bring AP. The only back that I think through free agency that we would get right now that would make me think, hey, we don't need to get one of those guys is if Fournette came here. I think even a year ago we talked about Fournette. While James Conner was on the roster, we said, man, we thought he would be the best running back. And people were still questioning, can he do it or not? And we were like, well, he's coming off his best season. Like, people remember him from what he did to us in 2017, but it's like, no, his best season was a year ago
with a lot of receptions.
Yes.
Like, that was always the question. Can he receive out the backfield? So
I thought when he showed that element of it, I'm like, dude, that's the guy that you should be rolling with going forward. But then obviously we passed on him, and then he goes to Tampa, has success in Tampa. You saw even in a role where he had to share the backfield, which was new for him, he still was productive, still held his own, and still was able to be productive, not just in the regular season, but we talked about, 500 yards during the postseason, like 500 scrimmage yards in the postseason. That's a lot of yardage, man, a lot. So I would love that here in Pittsburgh, knowing that, man, you didn't even get the full mileage last year because you were splitting carries with Ronald Jones. I'll bring you here. Now, I like Benny Snell a lot more. I like McFarland a lot more because they aren't the features. Leonard Fournette's our feature. You know what I mean? And now I just feel a lot better about that.
Yeah, we've forgotten about Fournette. Yeah. And the timing's way better this year.
It would be cheap.
The timing's way better this year because I think the hesitation last year, whenever we were talking about it, was we had Connor.
Yeah, so you just didn't know, right?
We had Connor too, and this was the last year of his contract.
Yep.
And same with Fournette. So it was like, we had Connor. We're saying he's the starter, but if we bring in Fournette, what is that dynamic going to look like?
Be two guys
now, if you bring in Fournette, it's over. Like, you're the guy.
Absolutely. And
26 years old, dude. Wow, you got me thinking. I didn't even consider Fournette because I just thought he was going to be too much. But now at this point, if it's $2 or $3 million,
that's that.
Maybe
$2 or $3 million.
No way.
Leonard.
$10 million.
Hey, big head. I know I missed you last year, right? But I saw what you did down there with Tampa. You did it with one goat. So how about you come over here to this other goat? You know, we got this goat over here. He likes to rock a little big beard. You know, that's what he does. All right. So how about you pull up here? We'll give you a 1 year, $8 million, 4 avoidable years, $7 million up front though, big fella. $7 million up front. I like that.
How many teams, if he was going to sign somewhere, would he I can't talk. Would he be the bona fide number one? I mean, Steelers are in the mix, but what if it's only out of like 5 teams? See, that makes us that much more attractive.
Yeah, and I would have to look to see like what teams like in terms of draft position, because outside of Etienne, Najee Harris, and Javonte Williams, outside of those 3, I don't think any of these other running backs coming in are going to be day one better than Leonard Fournette is right now.
So hold on, let me look at the teams real quick. This might be tough. Shit, I'm not gonna hold on standings. Because if you go through the teams, Seahawks, they just re-signed Carson.
Okay.
Rams
could. Well, no, they got Cam Akers from last year,
right? Mm-hmm. Cardinals.
They just brought back. They got who did they just bring? Oh my goodness, the dude from Oh my gosh, hold on, I'm about to pull it up. I got you.
Because Drake's just signed with the Raiders, so I don't know what they got. So maybe we could throw them in the mix. 49ers. I don't think he'd really fit that offense.
And they're more running back by committee with that style too. Remember how they were using like 3-4 running? Now all of them were eating, but it was more so just plug and play versus this is the guy we have to pay. Saints,
no. Bucks, no. If they're gonna keep Ronald Jones and not re-sign Fournette. Panthers, McCaffrey.
But I wouldn't just. I don't think that it's a foregone conclusion that he won't go back to Tampa.
Okay, no, right.
I think he could definitely do that as well.
Sure, but that's what I'm talking about though. If you being the bona fide number one, if he went back there, he wouldn't be that. Washington, Dave Gibson, Giants, no. Barkley, Cowboys, Elliott, Eagles, Sanders.
Depending on how you. Well, I don't think they'll make a move on Zeke just yet.
Packers, Jones.
Zeke is one to watch though.
Bears, Montgomery, Vikings.
Zeke is one to watch with the Cowboys.
Zeke to the Steelers.
No, that's. He ain't taking no
Vikings, Cook, Lions. They have Swift, dude. Like I'm looking through these teams,
but I like Fournette over Swift though.
No, I agree with you. I like him over that. But in terms of just going and being the main guy,
as soon as you sign there,
the Steelers have that. That could be in play. I mean, I don't know if we're interested or not. So that was just all the NFC. Yeah. I'm sure we could say similar things with the AFC, where the Steelers. If you're looking at 3 or 4 teams, like Ravens, no, they're probably gonna roll with Dobbins. Browns, no.
Oh, they're absolutely Bengals, roll with
Mixon.
Come on, man.
Chiefs, Edwards-Helaire, Raiders, no. Chargers, do they have Eckler back for a long-term deal? Broncos, no. because Gordon's there. Bro, like it makes sense actually when you're going through these teams.
But see, you said what'd you say where Edwards is? Oh man,
Chiefs.
Oh yeah, never mind. He could go Texans. He could go there. They signed Phillip Lindsay, but he's a better back than Phillip Lindsay.
Bro, but still, like they would be splitting a little bit. Like if he came to the Steelers, he would get everything.
True.
There's only like a couple teams that can say that. I hope we're interested.
I'm looking at Carlos Hyde signed to Jacksonville for a 2-year, $6 million deal. Bro, I feel like Fournette's the guy, bro.
Bro, I didn't even think of this, but you're right.
That's the guy.
I think you're right now.
Seriously, that's the dude I want, man.
Yep, he just won in the top ranking for me in terms of free agents we need to sign. It was Bell, but now it's Fournette.
So the Raiders brought in Drake to go along with Josh Jacobs.
Yeah, that's too much, dude.
Yeah, and they signed him a 2-year, $11 million deal. But they also Jacobs' usage has been crazy in with the Raiders right now. So that does make sense.
For sure. Like Patriots have Harris. I guess you could say the Jets, but like I said, there's only 3 or 4 teams.
True, but I guess my question to you is this though: if you're Leonard Fournette, you were very productive in this situation where you didn't have to be the main guy, the bell cow.
That's fair.
You look around the league and you say all the top backs throughout the past 3 years, or excuse me, the past 5 years, where they at now when they were the bell cow backs?
Hurt.
Ezekiel Elliott, Barkley,
McCaffrey.
Bell, McCaffrey, even Kamara. Think about not this past year, but the year before that, he dealt with injuries. All these guys who try to be bell cows, even though it's, from a pride standpoint, you like it, we've seen those guys' careers are a lot shorter, or their window of just dominance is a lot shorter than the guys who have been able to be a part of a little bit of a committee. You think about Chubb. Chubb ain't slowing down, but it's because he has Kareem Hunt with him. Kareem Hunt looks good right now because he has Chubb with him. You look at these type of teams where they are able to have, even when it was Kamara and Ingram together in the Saints, like both of them, when you got them together, is different. Now we know, okay, you can have one where, all right, he stays healthy for the whole year and Kamara goes on and goes crazy. But when have we seen him have another full healthy season of going crazy like that? Those are some of the factors that are playing in this thing right now. It's going to be interesting.
It all depends on what he wants. Because then you can make the argument, yeah, you do have the lion's share of the carries. Could McFarland step up a little bit or have some type of role? But either way, like there's only 3 or 4 teams. Like you'd be the bona fide RB1, and the Steelers are one of them if you signed here.
I like it though, man.
Like there are teams, like you said, where he would be better than the other players. Right. Just based off whether contracts or how they feel, that those teams feel about those running backs, like you would have to split a decent amount of carries with them.
Very true, man.
Steelers, like there's no obligation there with us.
I like it. That needs to be the one, man.
I agree.
We want him. If y'all want him, let us know. I think we want him though.
For sure.
If you want Leonard Fournette, put it in the comment section. Let us know. Talk to us, man. Talk to us. And then Deke could go run it over there to 3400 South Water Street, knock on Mr. Rooney's front door and be like, hey, baby, the people have spoken. Bring them.
I'm all about it. Is that all we got, though?
I think it is for the day, man, but shoot.
I kind of hijacked whenever we were talking about the AFC North teams there.
I don't care.
I brought up El Bell, and then we got to Fournette. I don't
care.
So I apologize for that.
Either way, it ended where
unless we really want to talk about the Ravens and the Bengals.
No. We're not giving them any credit. We gave them their credit right at the beginning. Oh, yeah, they got some nice pieces. Cool. All right, I'm done with y'all. You want to hear about them boys? Go over there to Cincinnati. So, with that being said, baby, good to see you again, man.
Dude, this is great. I love the stands.
Yes.
I love the new setup.
All love.
I got over my nervousness at the beginning.
Hey, and your posture stayed well throughout the duration.
You know what though? It might be the desk hiding it now though. I feel I'm in a similar spot. I do. Maybe I'm a little higher up.
Look good. You look good.
Thanks, man.
You look good. So with that being said, man, shout out to everybody that's been tuning in, man, and joining us on this journey. We appreciate y'all. And until next time, baby.
Peace.